It's the mashup on SiriusXM Hits 1. Stanley, Nicole, would you see who else is with us today?
I just can't.
It's Sister Taylor.
I mean,
Hi, guys.
It just continues. Lover was out Friday. She took over all weekend long, and now she's with us. I mean, did you just camp out here all weekend long?
You're practically a Hits 1 employee.
Yeah, you can't get rid of me.
No.
It's just too exciting of a week. I had to just move in.
Yeah.
Is it hard for you to? I feel like I would find it very hard to be calm, cool, and collective when I was dropping an album.
Totally.
How do you just remain in a zen place?
Well, I'm in a more zen place because I'm proud of what I made and what the fans are saying, and even really difficult, tough reviewers are echoing, how I feel about the record, which is really nice. And you don't live for good feedback, but it's really nice when it happens. It's really nice. And I'm grateful for it when those things match up.
Yeah.
When I love something as much as the fans love it too.
Yeah.
That's a really nice feeling. Every album release is different. This one's been very equally chill, filled with gratitude, filled with excitement, and just I'm just having fun. I'm really savoring every moment of this because it's only going to happen this one time.
Now, was every track on this album intended for this album, or was there something maybe a little bit older that you reworked or brought back?
I did make every single song on this for this album.
Okay.
I used to, there are times when there was a song called This Love that I had written closer to the Red album, but it ended up on the 1989 album. I used to do that a bit. There was a song called Better Man that I wrote back when I was writing the Red album, and then I ended up pitching it to this amazing band called Little Big Town, and they took it all the way to #1 at country radio.
Yeah, they did.
But with me, this album was always just, I was writing and writing and writing and knowing it was all for this album.
Okay.
You're so good at keeping things, being good about keeping things a secret and just letting little bits out at a time.
I try.
And, let's go back to the beginning. So when Me came out, we were obviously obsessed and freaking out. It was so exciting because Brendan Urie is one of our main artists. We played him first here. We're obsessed with him. He's a good friend of ours. We chatted with him in Vegas, and he said that he did not tell his wife about your collaboration before we all found out. Was that something that you would tell him, I need you to keep this a secret, or was that all on him?
From his wife.
I think that he told her about the collaboration because I remember he told me that he called her first and was because she was the one who brought him to my show.
Okay.
Sarah's amazing. She came to 2 shows in LA on the Reputation tour, night after night, back to back. And so when he got the offer, he called her and he was like, should I do this? And she was like, yes. But I think he didn't tell her anything about what the video was like.
Okay.
I think the thing he had to keep secret, I think he just wanted to keep the video secret from her because he knew that would be more exciting. If she could see it. We were doing this video that was so special effects. There was so much that was going to be added in post. And if you saw what we actually filmed, it was mostly us on a green screen with some set pieces. So he wanted her to see the full magic of the Me music video.
So the 3 of us were actually directly below you when you sang it for the first time with Brendan, and we wanted to know if you were scared up there on that swing.
On the thing going, to the crowd and
the
all.
billboards.
Were you scared?
I've been up on enough swinging things, being suspended in air enough times to where I'm just what's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, you've been stuck before, right?
I've gotten stuck up there. But the thing that sucks about when you get stuck is you sway. You start swaying.
That's
it's
even more
you feel
scary.
like a cat stuck in a tree. You're and so this happened on the Reputation tour, and I just started. It happened on lots of tours, actually. I'm always getting stuck in the air, but I just try to talk my way through it. I'll just sing another acoustic song. Thankfully, when I got stuck on the 1989 tour, I had my guitar, so I could just keep playing music.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever.
Now, you were Me with Brendan, but when you look at the track lists of Lover, there's a lot of songs that you did with Jack Antonoff.
Yeah.
What is it about Jack that makes you want to write with him so much?
He is one of the most versatile producers that I've ever been around, and he's also very positive. It's so easy for him to get excited about music.
Yeah, yes.
It's rewarding when, as a songwriter, you bring in an idea and I'll play him the idea and he'll be like, oh my god, okay, here's what we do next, oh my god, and he starts just spitting out ideas immediately, and he's so stoked. It's sometimes you play songs for people and they're like, oh, that's cool, and they need time to process, which I totally understand.
Right.
But when there's Jack over there being like, yes, this is great, like it's just easier to bring him stuff. And also, when I write an idea that's a little weirder, I feel more comfortable going to Jack because he's so accepting of all different kinds of music, and he thinks all different types of music are great.
In the history of pop music, there's been amazing songwriting teams. There's Lennon McCartney, there's Jagger and Richards, but Swift and Antonoff
Just saying.
is kind of getting to that level. Have you ever noticed that?
Sweet. That's so sweet. I mean, I can never discount the stuff I did with Max Martin. And he's, Max Martin and Shellback are like, I think just like icons of our generation, like some of the best creators that we'll ever see in music. So I can't pick a favorite duo because I just had so many amazing experiences in the studio. But Jack and I definitely tap into stuff that's like on this album. I'm just so proud of what we did on this record. Like it's a very pure feeling of gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Now, your last album, I know, I'm almost positive, correct me if I'm wrong, that we announced the tour just a couple days after the album came out. Is that a possibility for this album, or you don't know, or you're not going to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't. Okay. And I probably wouldn't say if I did know,
okay.
But it's like I just really wanted to see this album released through until I decided what was next. Because sometimes my life can feel like being sort of on a constant treadmill of like, oh, if we want to plan a tour, we have to book it a year and a half in advance. We've got to hold the stadiums. Like it gets that can be sort of claustrophobic when I just got off of a stadium tour. So I'm really trying to think of how I want to perform this album live, and just really, I'm still processing it, clearly.
Okay. As you should. Live in the moment. Be present.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to ask you? I read that when you first learned how to play a guitar, it was a 12-string. Mm-hmm. And most people, of course, a 6-string would intimidate them. Why weren't you intimidated by a 12-string guitar?
I wanted to play a 12-string guitar because I had a guitar teacher that told me that my fingers were too small to play a 12-string guitar. So immediately that was like all I wanted to do. Okay. And I think that's kind of weirdly like, with the Lover album, I've released these journal entries that, it's one of my favorite things about the physical component of this album. It's at Target. It's this deluxe edition where you can buy 4 different versions, and each version has 30 pages of my diaries from when I was a kid, from the ages of 13 to 27. Yeah. So the thing that I love about that is I got to look back and see what my mindset actually was like as a kid, because sometimes in retrospect we change things based on the lessons we've learned in our head. But as a kid, I really just, when someone told me I couldn't do something, I wanted to do it even more.
I love it.
And not in terms of like rebellion, like I was very obsessed with good behavior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I never wanted to do anything bad that would disappoint my parents. Okay. But if someone told me that I couldn't do something musically, that was what I wanted to do.
You mind sticking around a bit?
Yeah, sure.
All right, great. Taylor Swift, more on the mashup. All right, it's the mashup on SiriusXM Hits 1. And Nicole, Taylor Swift's still here.
We're so excited to hear you're going to be re-recording a bunch of your albums, except for Reputation. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I have to wait a couple extra years to do that one.
So you're going to do all of those. Now, take us through that process a little bit. Like, what is it going to look like? Are you going to have all of the people that you collaborated with, like, come back in the studio with you?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm going to figure it out. Because I have a year to figure it out and put it together, but I'm really stoked about it because I love my work. I love my music. And I love the idea that I get to go back and, sing it with, like, I don't know, like when I was younger, like my vocal cords were still developing and everything. Like it's really sick that I get to go back in and sing that stuff now. Yeah. So cool.
It's really funny because we were just, when you're saying you're going back, I think like 5 years ago, we found this quote from you where they basically asked you, where do you think you'll be when you're 30? Yeah. And we're right there. We're right there. And some of the things that you said,
we are 6 months away.
Okay,
slow down.
All right. You don't even know
at this point, I think that's a little bit aggressive.
You're right. You are fully 29. But I just want to know if this is still, like, if you feel like this is all sort of coming true. You said, I'll probably still be single, let's be honest, but no one wants to sign up for this and everything that goes with it. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Want a date? Do you love camera flashes? I hope you do. And you kind of went in and into this whole thing. Do you feel like you're where you thought you'd be 5 years ago?
Well, one thing that's been important to me in the last couple of years that I think I've done pretty well, that I'm very proud of, is I've learned how to sort of get those camera flashes out of my life.
Right.
I thought that I was trapped in that. I thought that, if there's if I pull up to a building and there's cameras outside that building, I have to walk into the building in that way, and I have no choice, and this is the life I signed up for, and they're going to take pictures of me no matter what. And I used to just live my life like a golden retriever, just really welcoming and really like, oh, like, okay, I guess I'll just, put up with whatever and always be nice and always be smiling. And if there are weird people outside with cameras, then I have to confront that every day. And they have to see what's going on in my friendships and my relationships. And that made me feel so trapped that I just recalibrated everything about my life. And I'm like less golden retriever, more fox now. And I've learned how to keep my life. Yeah. And so, I don't think that people should have to live with constant intrusions and invasions. And every single person we have who attains fame says that. They all say that it's traumatizing, it's weird, it makes them feel completely not like a human being.
Yeah.
And so,
like a zoo animal.
Yeah. So, but I'm lucky enough to where like I've had enough time doing this to where I could learn how to just like, I have a pretty normal life now.
Yeah.
It's not normal when people are just like jumping out with like long lens cameras and screaming. It's like a whole weird thing.
Is it experiences like that in the trials you've been through in the music industry that makes you so quick to jump out and help people like BB Rexa when she had her tweet last week, or other artists that you've stuck out for?
Yes. And I think it's awesome when new artists are brave, because I know how scary it is to just not want to do anything wrong. I just never wanted to do anything wrong. And so many times in my career, I found myself just smiling through the discomfort that I was in. Any situation I was in, even up until a couple years ago, if I was uncomfortable, I would just be nicer. And you can't do it. Not anymore.
No.
And the fact that she was like, "This is wrong," I was like, yes. I was like, get them all, burn it down.
Let me read another one of your quotes. I read this in a magazine. I think it was Elle, as my screen cuts off. He says, "Every day I try to remind myself of the good in the world, the love I've witnessed, and the faith that I have in humanity. We all need to live bravely in order to truly feel alive, and that means not being ruled by our greatest fears." That being said, what was the latest thing that you witnessed that restored your faith in humanity?
There are really sweet things that happen in life all the time. If we just look for them. We do these things called secret sessions, and there was an occasion where I was meeting people afterward, and there were two younger girls who had maybe 15 years old or 16, and they brought their moms. And when they were meeting up, the two moms looked across at the other, and they saw each other, and they realized they were like really good friends 15 years ago, and then they lost touch. And all of a sudden, they live in different parts of England, and all of a sudden they're in the same parking lot for a secret event that only like 70 people are at. And I looked out when I was playing the album, and they were holding hands, and they hadn't seen each other in 15 years. And I'm like, you know what is great? Friendship.
Yeah.
You know what's great? Camaraderie. Being there for each other, listening to each other, hearing each other. And I think that like it doesn't have to be like a big huge thing. We've got to look for the little good things that we see every day. Like the fans this week, so many fans have come to New York, and I follow a lot of them on Instagram or Tumblr or Twitter, and they're meeting up with people that they have only known from being like, in an online community of fans of my music, and now they're like posting pictures of themselves, sitting in an Olive Garden in Times Square, and they're all from different parts of the country, and now they're having dinner and having the best time and bonding over something they have in common. I just think we need to focus on these things when we're in we're really in a crazy time right now. So we can't let ourselves be disillusioned and think that everyone's bad.
I saw something confusing today, and since I've got you right here, I want to get the truth out of this. It's nice to have a friend. If you look inside the cover of Lover, it lists the songwriters, and one person who isn't listed that's all over the internet is people are saying Selena wrote the song with you? That Selena Gomez did?
She did not.
Okay. Because it's all over the internet that Selena's added as a writer.
Selena did not co-write that song, but the song it's a song about finding friendship on like a really like childhood level, and sort of how that's a metaphor for how we're really just all looking for someone to hang out with forever. And so we have actually used like musicians, and the singers on this song are kids from a school called the Regent Park School of Music in Toronto, which is a school for underprivileged kids where they get to go. They don't have to pay to learn music. And so it's just really cool to know that the song is basically about sort of childhood friendship and all that. And it's got actual young voices on it and young musicians who are playing on the record.
Now, speaking of friends, you have many friends. Of your friends, what would they say is the most annoying thing about you?
Oh, probably a lot of things.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like plagued with self-doubt at times. And also I sometimes stop conversations in the middle and like get this glazed over look in my face and pull out my phone and record a melody.
You gotta get it down.
Okay.
I'll just get ideas in the middle of a conversation and they'll be like, you're doing it again.
Oh,
Wow. And then they just know to pause the conversation and just resume as soon as I'm done.
One thing that is not annoying is you and this album and everything surrounding it. We are obsessed. We love you. We wish that you could stay with us all day,
I know,
all
me
week.
too.
Don't leave us, Taylor.
You guys are the best. Thank you for being so supportive. It's been like 13 years of you guys
from the
being
beginning,
here.
right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you.
Round
you,
of applause
girl.
for our friendship. Thank you.
Taylor Swift on the mashup.
Wonderful. Thank you.
It's hits one.